last time we talked, Trey Lance was on the team. Then the Niners traded him, and they did that very dramatic press conference with Kyle Shanahan came out and talked, and then John Lynch came out and talked afterward. And you weren't there, but you watched on television, and you tweeted about it. And I loved your interpretation. So when you were watching Kyle Shanahan talk in that very quiet tone for about 15 minutes saying, I really feel like I let Trey down. I wanted him here. And then you saw John Lynch come out more with his chest puffed out being like, we own it. We own it. It was our fault. We own it. What was your takeaway from that spectacle?
Oh, they both seemed very stressed to me, Iggy. Lynch did have his chest puffed out. That's how he is. But he kept wiping his nose. Did you notice he had like a runny nose? And to me, I'm not putting him down. I have runny noses all the time. I don't mean that. He seemed, when people are stressed, they catch colds. They're not up to par. So this is a conjecture. None of these people talk to me, but I am imagining that they felt pressure. Now, what kind of pressure were they feeling? They don't care about what the media thinks. It's like, Grant and Matt Mayoko are going to think that they screwed up the whole Trey Lance thing from the moment they drafted him. They don't care about that. What they care about is this standing in the organization. Now, I am not in touch with Jed York at all, but nor do I know if he's pulling the strings. It could be his mother. It could be his father. But let's, for the sake of argument, say it's him. And we don't know. Well, if he is an owner with any guts, he has to have called them in and said, look, I'm going to keep quiet about this whole Trey Lance thing, or the 3 first-round picks plus another pick, and we got a 4th in return. And you botched him from the beginning. I'm not going to say anything public about it, but I want you to know you guys are on notice. You need to get to the Super Bowl this year, or you need to win the Super Bowl this year to make up for what a farce you did with this and how bad you made me look and the 49ers look. This is inept. This is not 49er business. And if things don't come around, your heads may roll. And I want to tell you something, Iggy. That's what Eddie DeBartolo would have done. And he wouldn't have been polite about it. He would have been screaming. He might have thrown something. Not at them, but he might have thrown something. The point is, it's what they deserve. Yeah. When they say, we own it, and they both said we own it, what does it mean we own it? It doesn't mean anything to say we own it. It's like I take full responsibility. Means nothing. But if he put them on notice, I am really angry. I am really disappointed. I'm beginning to doubt you two. Now, that's something. And what I want to say, Iggy, Jed needed to do that. And if he didn't do that, I lose respect for him. Do I have respect for him? Is there any to lose? That's another conversation. But if he didn't do that, I lose respect for him. How do you feel?
Who really owns it? Who really foots the bill for this? The Yorks. Yeah. I'm looking right now. They paid Trey Lance $27.8 million. It's a lot of money. And it'd be one thing if Trey Lance played 20 games, wasn't good. It's like, well, you tried, you gave him every chance, it didn't work out. Happens. But to just throw him away and say, sorry, we convinced you, the Yorks, to use this draft capital, to spend this money. We convinced you that this was the guy we needed. Then 2 years later, we're telling you, actually, he's not the guy we need. We're never going to give him a chance. Sorry. Sorry for those $28 million you threw down the drain. Yeah, you'd have to be pissed about that. That's not a little bit of money. You'd have to say, look, we trusted you. We spent the money. It's gone. And fine, you still get to be here. But if you miss the playoffs, if you don't win a playoff game, like nothing's guaranteed.
That's how I feel. And again, I don't know who's doing the conversations there. Iggy, there had to have been at someone's home or at an off hour in the building. There had to have been a very stern conversation, like father to son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A call to Jesus moment. There had to be something like that. And if there wasn't, this is a joke franchise. If there wasn't, can you imagine how Bill Walsh would have handled this is incompetence we're talking about. How he would have handled incompetent people or Carmen policy.
Right.
Carmen's a wonderful guy, but he wouldn't stand for this. And we're supposed to believe that Jed is standing for this? If he is, he's a clown.
Now, it's possible that Brock Purdy is the second coming of Joe Montana, and this debacle won't necessarily define this organization. But if Brock Purdy isn't, and they can't lean on that success, and they just have him coming back to earth and Trey Lance giving them nothing, then eventually you're going to have to look at this team like they don't know what they're doing at quarterback. So if it isn't Brock at this point, I feel like maybe that's this organization, this regime's last hope. If it ain't Brock, it ain't anybody, and you got to go.
Iggy, I agree with what you're saying, but I would add, even if Brock is a smashing success, you can't wipe out what they did with Trey Lance. No, even if Brock, Brock wins the Super Bowl, these guys screwed up how many times?
Yeah.
If you look at it as a timeline,
right,
starting at hour one, they screwed up by drafting him the way they did, and not developing him the way they did, and then this phony competition that they had, and choosing this Sam Darnold over him. All of this, no. Even if Purdy works out, these guys still should be on notice, Iggy. I don't back off from that.
No, I agree with you. And the thing is, like, I feel this trade will have consequences for a long time, and they won't be able to outrun it. They'll say, well, we got Brock, no harm, no foul. Okay, well, Brock could be really good, and you could not win the Super Bowl this year. We all saw it in the preseason. This is a very top-heavy team. For the first time in a while, it lacks depth. Why does it lack depth? They threw away so many premium draft picks. So if they have injury issues, if they miss the playoffs because a couple of their important players got hurt, you can't use excuses anymore. This is all a symptom of that huge blunder.